Leathur Rokk here. Today, I think we can talk about going to clubs and security and some ways that you can speed yourself through the security process, making it easier for you and the security people, and also some ways that you can practice situational awareness and protect yourself when you go to clubs, because that is something that's a timely subject. And now more than ever, I think it's very important for everybody to be careful, because we are living in a dangerous world and responsibility for your safety starts with you. So let's get started with some of the things that you may or may not have in the purse that you're bringing in. Purses, thinking because women might be carrying purses, but most of these are applicable to any gender, really. Okay, let's start off with what you may take in the purse if you're going to a club. Now, this is a purse, believe it or not. I say believe it or not because there are still some people, and they're always males for some reason, that don't seem to believe that a handbag would look like this. Now, I have two almost identical bags, but they're obviously one's bigger than the other. And I would probably take the smaller one usually. But if I want to avoid going to a coat check and I have a small jacket and I want to ball it up, it's really convenient and money saving if you can actually put your jacket inside your purse, because you save the expense of going to a coat check and you don't have to worry about putting your jacket down someplace and have somebody either spill a drink on it or steal it or knock it on the ground, which has happened to me a number of times. And if you brought a plastic bag with you to put your jacket in, the security might think it's an unattended thing and it could cause a ruckus, because let's face it, if they see something unattended, they don't know if it's a troublemaking device or if it's just somebody was careless and lost their things. You don't want to leave unattended things around. I mean, what if they took it to the beach or something and detonated it? I mean, you just can't do these things anymore that maybe we used to do even 10 years ago. Times are changing and security is tighter because that's the world we're living in. Now, let's take a look at what you get to even see what's in my purse. Let's play security. Daddy boy, he ran out. Cat. Okay, by the way, Ace died. I wasn't even going to go on video tonight. I came out of a concert, but I felt inspired to talk about security. So anyway, let's look in the bag. In this purse, now I have makeup bags that I often carry, but the thing with makeup bags is they're usually small and they're zippered and they're usually opaque, and I will either put my makeup in a plastic Ziploc bag and put it in the makeup bag. That way all I have to do is open up the makeup bag and lift this out. Look at how much easier this is to go through security. If you have a bag like this, it's see-through, and I was doing this before they ever started the Ziploc thing. Some places don't even allow you to bring purses in. They have you bring in quart bags because they want to make it easier to pass through security. They want to be able to look through your things and know that you don't have a syringe or firearms or something that could be used to hurt somebody, and they probably not too cool about drug paraphernalia either. Even though since marijuana is being increasingly legalized, that's less of an issue, and we'll talk about that later in this video. Now, I'm even going to open up this Ziploc bag just so you could see, for instance, you get to see what I bring in clubs. Woo-woo. Okay, now, I love tiny little makeup palettes like this because they're very portable. And of course, I love this particular palette because this has colors that are very practical for me. And I'm going to get my eyes really close here. And you can see that the purple and the pink and the highlight color are in this. Very portable, and this has a little well in it that you can put either an applicator or a little brush head. So that's in this bag. My favorite current mascara, Fierce Volume Extreme by B&H Cosmetics. I really love that mascara a lot. The foundation I'm wearing, and you do want to make sure that these things, any liquids, are sealed tightly. Again, having a Ziploc bag. If it did leak, it won't leak onto your bag. Got my contour product here, and eyeliner pencil, and 2 makeup brushes. Alright, now that's not the only little baggie that I had in here. I also had this bag here, and this bag started to rip a little bit near the Ziploc, but the only reason I mention that is because that makes it a little harder to open up. My eyebrow stuff, eyeliner, my lipstick, which is probably the most perfect color anybody ever created, and any coincidence that it goes with my hair? It's just my favorite color. I can't help it. This is actually a blush, and the reason why I brought this along with this is, by the way, L'Oreal HIP High Intensity Pigments. This is the lid. This is the product. There is a separate compartment here that has a mirror, and the reason why I brought this is because it has a nice tiny mirror. In this little compartment here, you could put earplugs in, and just to prove that you can put earplugs in them, these are earplugs. See, you could also use this for earring backs or other things, but breath mints even. But earplugs, very, very, very important. Even though I took my earplugs out for half the concert because I really wanted to hear it well. I have a lighter with me, and now this. Oh, and there is change there too. Now, when you have a lighter and you have change, it's best to keep the lighter kind of away from the change because you don't want to accidentally turn the lighter on. You don't want to have anything that will get caught in a lighter. That's why you have to kind of be careful. Usually if I'm throwing a lighter in a purse, I put the lighter separately in a compartment so it doesn't get caught on something else because I'm always safety conscious. Now, this is a typical envelope that a concert ticket will come in. I brought the ticket in that to protect it. Jitney ticket, you always want to have bus tickets with you. Ticket, this is the show I went to. Joe Perry and some of his rock star friends. This tour in Atlantic City, he had Gary Sharon, who's the singer from the band Extreme, and Brad Whitford, also from Aerosmith, and some other gentlemen whose names I don't remember and who I was not familiar with. They were fantastic. You want to know what else is in this? Rolling papers. Now, remember I told you that we would briefly gloss over marijuana? Since cannabis is increasingly being legalized, there are certain paraphernalia that actually is safe to bring, with certain caveats. You can always bring a lighter. You can bring papers because rolling papers were traditionally used for tobacco. I think in some states, if you carry rolling papers, as a matter of fact, sometimes when you buy rolling papers, they come with a tiny, tiny, tiny little baggie of real tobacco. I know it's pretense that you're selling the papers for tobacco. Many people do use papers for tobacco. Matter of fact, these rolling papers, if you look close at them, they're bugler papers. They actually came with tobacco, and how I got possession of these, somebody who had a big canister, like a coffee can, of tobacco gave me these papers. That's how I have them. They're a bit harsher than the other papers that are stereotypically used for weed, but they'll do in a pinch. I mean, it's good to have lighter. If you smoke marijuana, it's good to have lighter and papers with you, because you never know when somebody has something and they say, oh, I need a lighter, I need papers, and if you have the lighter and the papers, you get stoned. So it's good to be prepared. Always have money. I had gift cards. I was all set to buy myself some merchandise tonight, and they didn't sell any, which I was really surprised, because selling merchandise is the main way that tours get financed, because kids these days don't seem to buy albums too much, and there seems to be less emphasis on complete albums. People are buying songs at a time. Not everybody. I think it's more something that the kids are doing. I'm an album person. I'm an LP record person. That's really what rocks my socks. Another thing that's in my purse, a camera. This is a disposable reel film camera. Now, some places do not allow photography, but I think the increasing trend is, since most people seem to carry cell phones, I of course not being one of them, cell phones usually have cameras built in, and if they're going to let people use their cell phones to take pictures of the bands, it doesn't seem fair to me that if they're going to let people have their cell phones and people are going to be taking pictures with them, if some Joe Schmo is going to take pictures with a cell phone, why can't I take pictures with my camera? Now, it's not a good idea really to use the flash. If you've ever been on stage, you know what it's like to be temporarily blinded by flashes, and these flashes pack a wallop. Anybody who's ever done selfies with them knows when I flash in my face, and I'm not going to do it in front of you now, you get a white spot on your vision for a couple of minutes. It's serious stuff. And imagine if you were on stage and you got your instrument or whatever, and you're trying not to trip over things, and people are blinding you with flash bulbs. That's why so many performers don't like it. And I was told by an usher at the concert today that a lot of comedians actually are involved in this no cell phone movement at concerts, because they are afraid of people filming their routines and stealing their jokes. And I can certainly understand that. So there's a trend toward them having special pouches that they have people put their cell phones in, and it locks them, and the only way that people can make calls is if they go just outside the venue, and they have these unlocking stations. So if somebody wants to call home and check on their babysitter and say, look, I'm going to be a half hour late, I'll pay you extra to watch my kids, or something like that. Again, I don't carry a cell phone, so I don't have to worry about it, but I'm sure eventually I'm going to have to join the cell phone generation, kicking and screaming, because it seems to me that they are increasingly becoming a fact of life. Now, back to the subject. Security, they are looking for metals, they are looking for contraband, which varies from state to state what is contraband. They will want you for metal. Now, it was interesting what reacted and what didn't react. My broken hand here, this is $6,000 worth of pins and screws and stuff, that reacted. My nose ring did not. My belly ring did. These piercings did not. It's really interesting what reacts and what doesn't. My stud belt did not react. If you are partly bionic at all, those things, if you have metal implants or whatever, those things will react, because obviously they're looking for firearms and different things like that. I don't know if the security was armed. I think that they should be, because the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Then again, I support the Second Amendment, even though I'm in the state of New Jersey that does not give provisions for civilians to carry. If you're not a police officer, you cannot carry a gun in the state of New Jersey, and don't let anybody tell you any different. If you don't believe me, go on the NRA's website. There are websites that tell you state by state laws, and there's no excuse for not knowing the laws. So if you do have a permit in another state, please check the laws in any states that you might be traveling to, because too many people get in trouble for not knowing the laws, and they bring guns to a place that's not legal, and if they get caught, it's not worth it. It's not worth losing your privileges. You can't, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Now, so you go in line and they do the search thing. They ask you to open up the purse and everything. I've gone to some clubs that, believe it or not, do not allow ink pens, because they were all ages clubs, and kids supposedly have a reputation for writing graffiti, and I guess they figure if you have a pen, you might write on the walls. These people don't realize that, first of all, pens don't tend to write too well on most walls anyway. If you want to write graffiti, use a marker or nail polish or something like that. There are some clubs that allow smoking, so you can have lighters and you can have cigarettes, but you can't bring hairspray. Because what happens when you spray hairspray and you put a flame on it, you get a flamethrower. Nobody wants that. So I have been to clubs where I knew I couldn't bring my hairspray, and what really sucked is, say I'm going to Philadelphia, I'm taking a bus, it takes about an hour and a half to get there, and if I wanted to bring the hairspray with me and tease up my hair in the bathroom of the bus terminal, then when I get to the club, then security confiscates your hairspray. That was getting old for a while, and that club closed. So I don't go to that anymore. But that never made sense to me. Especially what really didn't make sense to me is the fact that it was an all-ages club, but they had a smoking room, and there were these kids drinking. I mean, not drinking, but smoking. And if you have to be at least 18, some places 19, some places even 21, to smoke tobacco, why the hell are they allowing kids to do it? I mean, if it's either legal or it's not. Personally, I don't think anybody should be smoking anything anyway, except for maybe grass, but that's just how I roll. Now, so you go through security, you get patted down. Actually, nobody patted me down, but I wouldn't have minded. And the thing is, you have to have a decent attitude. You can't be freaking out because, oh, I was felt up. Even if you are felt up, big deal. I mean, for some people, it was probably the biggest fill you had in years, so just shut up. You know, they want to make sure that nobody's in possession of anything that's going to hurt other people. And if you just cooperate, you know, it's not that hard. Because you want to do it fast so that they can process the people, so people can get in your show so you can enjoy the show. Now, say you're going to a dance club of some kind. One way that a lot of people get themselves in trouble is through drinking to excess, and then you cannot watch around yourself. You can't be aware and protect yourself because you're fogged up by alcohol. Now, let me close my door. Alcohol is not a factor in my life anymore. I quit back in 2004. Alcohol rots your brain, and you're incapable of protecting yourself because you can't exercise good judgment. You can't practice SO, situational awareness. You can't notice all the things around you that you really should to anticipate hazards and avoid them. You have to be able to anticipate the moves of other people, steer clear of trouble. You don't want to get involved in something. And I don't understand how people think that they can protect themselves when they're drinking. One drink turns into two, and you just cannot protect yourself. And that's a big part of the reason why I quit. Now, let's talk about some practical ways that you can protect yourself and just make things easier when you go into clubs. I try not to go and spend money in coat check because, well, I'm kind of cheap. All right, why spend a couple of dollars if you don't have to? That said, more and more clubs do not allow outerwear, and they don't always have a coat check right there. I guess they take for granted that you're going to drive in from wherever, or some places they do have, if it's a club in a hotel, the coat check might be on another floor of the hotel. Some coat checks are free, all you do is tip them. Some coat checks cost as much as $5 or even more. What I do a lot of walking to clubs, or now something like this is too big and bulky for me to put in a purse. But let me show you a benefit of having a bag this size. Depending on the kind of jacket you have, you can fold it up, squash it, and put it in your bag, which is a lot of times what I do. I used to take my jacket off and set it on like an amplifier or on the side of the stage. And I'm not talking about when bands are on. Obviously, you can't have anything on a stage. You shouldn't even have drinks on a stage. Heck, you shouldn't have drinks on a dance floor because they spill, and nobody likes slipping in spilled drinks. But If you take your jacket off and you set it someplace, there you run the risk of it being an unattended package. And if somebody doesn't know that it is a jacket, people get nervous when they see things that are unattended. Security doesn't like it. And if it's something that doesn't look like a jacket, if it's a backpack or something, there have been cases where these things have been taken to a field and detonated because they wanted to make sure that it wasn't a bomb or something. You don't want to scare security. I mean, they're human beings like you and me, and they're risking their safety to protect us. I have been a security guard before, and I wasn't armed or anything because, again, state of New Jersey, if you're not a cop, you don't carry a gun. That's the law. And if you break the law, you get a felony on yourself, and then no matter what other state you move to, even if they have more liberal gun laws, guess what? You're not eligible. You screw yourself up. Any kind of messing around with firearms just fucks up your life, and just don't do it. Okay? Now, enough of the gun talk, because I don't want to. That gives people the heebie-jeebies. Again, situational awareness. It really helps to be sober, to know what's going on. If, say, you do want to go to the drink, or somebody's getting you a drink, try to watch it being poured. If it's a beer, watch it being opened. Having things, it's too easy to have a drink in your hand and have somebody slip something in it. It's happened to me before, okay? And if you heard of something called Rohypnol, one of the street names is Ruthies. It's called a date rape drug. It doesn't have a taste. It doesn't have a smell. Within 24 hours, it passes through your urine and it can't be detected. So if you were to try to get tested for it to prove that some drugs pass your system really fast and it's hard to prove. So if you don't leave drinks unattended, if you see it poured and it never leaves your sight, it's an easier way to protect yourself. You can't depend on security to see every single person, every patron, and protect every person. You have to accept responsibility for yourself. That's why I think that alcohol is so stupid, and I really wish that that wasn't such a big emphasis at these clubs, but you do understand that alcohol makes money for the clubs and makes money for the distilleries and everything, and it's a part of our society that there's not much you can do about it except avoid imbibing it yourself. But if it's a part of our society, all we can do is hope that people are as safe as possible on it. And please don't drink and drive. My best friend's mother was killed by a drunk driver, and a lot of good people are killed by drunk drivers, and it's just really vile. So if you can take a taxi, if you can take public transportation, if you can walk, you don't need to drink and drive. In this day and age, there's no excuse. Again, on protecting yourself on dance floors, so many things you have to watch out for, even if you're not drinking. Fast-footed dancers, usually men tend to wear more comfortable shoes, and some of them will really cut a rug. And there have been more than a few times that I almost got tripped up by they tend to be good dancers too, which is kind of nice to see good dancers. But in couples, they're getting wild and twirling themselves around and stuff. And you got to give them space so that you don't get tripped. Watching out for hands. I almost got my nose ring cut my face by somebody who wasn't delivering anything, went like this, and you can imagine that it could do some damage to somebody. And if you're going to a punk rock or a metal gig and people have mosh pits, mosh pits is slam dancing, if you've ever seen that, that is violent, it is dangerous. People that are not involved with it get hurt. Occasionally they will have clubs that will actually have a cage that people do this in. That way people who are not involved in it don't get hurt. If you notice the soundboard equipment, a lot of times that has a barricade around it. Like if you ever go to a house of blues, they have special, it's like a cage that surrounds the soundboard, the recording equipment, the equalizer, all the stuff that's responsible for the sound that you get. That's protected. And if they're going to protect the sound equipment, it seems to me that they should protect the slam dancers too. because if you want to do that sort of thing, I guess you have the right to do it, but not if at the expense of hurting other people. And I recommend that they not be too close to the stage, because there are a lot of people that go to concerts that just want to get close to the stage. They want to see their idols or whatever. Maybe they find the band members attractive, because we do have eyes. Some musicians are very attractive, and you want to be able to enjoy the show and not have to worry about getting stepped on or punched or pushed. And that's my problem with mosh pits. Part of me wishes it had died out with the punk scene. When I came back from LA, came back to New Jersey, and I saw that these punk rock artifacts from the early 80s were alive and well and could be found in some rock shows, it was a little bit disappointing. Back to club safety. There's all kinds of things you have to think about. Say you wear a controversial shirt of some kind, like, say, a Trump shirt or something. And this is a true story here. Well, a couple of months after Trump won the election, I happened to wear one of his inauguration shirts. I've gone, if you watch any of my older videos, and you know that I attended the Trump inauguration, and I bought a bunch of merchandise when I was there because I could. I love my souvenirs. What can I say? So I was at a casino called Bally's in Atlantic City, the Wild Wild West, and I forget what band I was there to see, but some chick and her big boyfriend, she pushed me once and she pushed me twice, and the band wasn't all that great anyway, and it was one of these cover bands, and half of what they played was crappy pop and the other half they played was hip hop. And the DJ played a whole lot of that rap crap too. So I really didn't behoove me to stick around. And I didn't want trouble, so I just left. Sometimes it's better, because you pick your battles in life. Sometimes it's better to just avoid problems. But it could be something as simple as you wearing the wrong team. There are some people that are that petty. Or if they don't like the candidate that you're wearing on your shirt. And they have no right to do that. I mean, I see people, I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not going to pick a fight with an Eagles fan or a Phillies fan or whatever. You like who you like. That would make as much sense as my picking a fight with an old guy because he's wearing a Glenn Miller shirt. I mean, which I don't know that they have Glenn Miller shirts. But I digress. You really have to be protective of yourself and other people when you go to these clubs. And now some people suggest that you shouldn't have too big of bags because big bags have the potential of having more stuff in them that might not even be allowed. But if you, like myself, like to take your jacket off and put it in a bag, I have some jackets that will fit in the smaller version of this, and it's really convenient. I can actually fit a jacket and my makeup and my keys and my money, and it's on me. I don't have to worry about where it is. I don't have to worry about investing in a coat check. It's all on me, and if somebody wants to search me, all I have to do is open up the bag, take the jacket out, then they can see whatever's in it, and it's fine. Now, for you cell phone people, I hate cell phones. They get on my last nerve. I know they're a convenience. It must be great to be able to access the World Wide Web on something besides your home computer. That I know is a draw. Being able to take pictures, that's a definite draw too. But so many people, they're spending all their time looking at this screen instead of noticing what's going on around them. I've seen people walk into fountains. I've seen people step off the curb, and if somebody didn't yell at them, they could have gotten hit by a car. People will, instead of enjoying the club that they're at, they'll be looking at their screen all the time. I mean, why spend the money and the time and effort to go out if you're just going to be looking at your screen? Maybe you should just be at home in front of your computer. So people do these things. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And sometimes people will go to concerts. The concert I saw today, a lot of people looked like they were viewing it through their screen. I could see if you want to take a brief video, I could certainly see taking pictures. But to basically watch the concert through your camera, your phone, is ridiculous. And let me tell you something, the performers, especially depending how close you are, they can see it. They don't appreciate it either. Because it seems like you're not giving your full attention to the performer. And as somebody that's been on more stages than I care to count, we do notice. I mean, and if somebody, it's like, even if I had to go to the bathroom, I think I would wait until an intermission or something rather than get up and leave in the middle of performance. I think that's just disrespectful. I wouldn't do it. So yeah, look up from your phone and watch out for the spilled drinks. And especially if there's glass on the ground and you have open-toed shoes, those are hazards. And you want to be aware of where you're walking. And another thing that I recommend, carry a pen and paper with you. Sometimes I think writing is a lost art. I always bring a notebook with me. This is my current journal. This is both a journal, it's got some song lyrics in it, it's got some business notes in it. Say I meet some cool people like I did tonight, I can put down names and phone numbers and email addresses and stuff like that. You know, I feel safer having a pen and paper. If I have a pen and paper, I can write down information. I can write down transit information. Having a pen and paper could be a lifesaver, not to mention the convenience of being able to jot down your number to that cute person that you just met. There is, going back to that all ages, it was a punk/gothic club that I went to in Philadelphia. Among the odd rules they had there, in addition to the not allowing the hairspray, they did not allow pens. And I told you their reasoning was because they did not want people writing graffiti. Well, I was not going to cross state lines, go from New Jersey to Pennsylvania and not have a pen and paper with me. So what I did was I had a small pen, I wrapped it in a dollar bill and put it in my makeup bag. Now, I would rather not try to sneak things past security, but in cases like that, it's a judgment call. If the rule is that stupid, and I know that pen and paper is part of how I protect myself, I'm going to bring a pen and paper. I'm a writer. How can I not have? If I didn't have a pen, what would I do with a notebook? You can't deprive people of a pen and paper. That really doesn't make any sense. Now, if you see somebody that's writing, don't get all up in their business. One of the big pet peeves I have, I know people are curious, but I would not think to come up to somebody when they're tapping away on their cell phone and ask them what they're doing, or who they're talking to, or whatever. I figure it's none of my business. So if I'm writing, why are people so curious? I mean, what, you think I work for the CIA? I'm taking notes on you. I'm not taking notes on you, dude. Maybe I'm working on a song, or if it's a concert, maybe I'm writing down a set list. Maybe I had a memory 5 minutes ago, something really groovy happened and I wanted to write it down. You know, I don't understand why people make such a big deal out of writing. It's like you never, do all the people you know illiterate? I mean, the things that trip people out make no sense to me. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to discuss here? This is a subject that I've been wanting to make a video about for like the past 6 months, and I finally got around to doing it tonight. I wasn't actually even going to go on video tonight because I'm really sad about the cat dying and stuff, but because I had this concert ticket and I went to the show and I came back in rather a good mood, and I'm thinking, why don't I go on video and talk about these things? Earplugs. It's really, really, really a good idea to have earplugs, even if occasionally you take them out because you want to hear the full range of the music. Like if it's one of your favorite bands, I could see maybe taking the earplugs out for that. But for the opening band, for the music beforehand, or if you're going to go dancing in some crappy little bar afterwards where half the music is bad covered band stuff and the other half is like hip hop or something, put the earplugs in. Safeguard your hearing. As people age, a lot of times it's the upper registers that they lose, the treble. You have these grandparents walking around that can't hear their grandkids. It robs you of so much out of life. The five senses that we have, that we derive so much pleasure out of and get so much information out of, I cannot imagine having a hearing problem. So please safeguard your hearing. Once we have these hairs inside the ear, and I forget exactly what they're called, but once you destroy your hearing, you can't get it back. So wear your earplugs. And it's something we should have all done back when we were kids. We didn't know better. But if you take a look at the crew, take a look at the ushers, take a look at the security. If they're working in loud environments, look at their ears. 99% of the time, I guarantee you, they're protecting your hearing. Earplugs don't cost a lot. Unless you want to get yourself fitted for the audiophile ones, there's ones that musicians wear. There's actually two main kinds. One is a little bit more sensitive than the other. That's something that I intend to invest in so that I can hear the wide dynamic range. One thing the earplugs will do is they do tend to blot out the treble, so a lot of times what you're hearing is very bass heavy. I did not wear earplugs when I heard Kansas. I saw them at the same place that I was in tonight. I was at the Borgata, which is in the marina in Atlantic City. And I saw Kansas there a couple of years ago. I was very lucky to get a second row seat. And there was two people that were talking behind me. And I actually turned around and I said to them, I only saw this band one time in my life, back when I was 14. I got myself this ticket, and I was not planning on being treated to your conversation all night. You're not going to do it, are you? You know what? They shut up the rest of the night. Sometimes it really is good to assert yourself. Don't allow somebody to ruin your evening. If people are going to talk all the way through it, you don't have to put up with that. And usually, if a person keeps up with it, usually the ushers will do something about it. So speak up. Don't allow anybody to interrupt your enjoyment. These tickets are usually run expensive, and you have a right to not have your evening ruined. Okay, the sound you hear is my turning pages. I just want to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. Yeah, a lot of this goes down to following your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, maybe it's not. But it all boils down to, again, you have to be able to be aware of what's going on. And if you're drinking, you can't really be aware of what's going on. So maybe I feel like I should close this kind of like the preachers do. You know how the televangelists, they like to close with your come to Jesus moment. Well, maybe this should be my come to sobriety moment. Of course, that said, the day I'm recording this is 420, so I wouldn't mind having some of that at the moment. Actually, this is my first 420 in a long time that I didn't get my hands on any, but that's the way it is. Okay, this was my rather unorganized video about club safety. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, even if it made you laugh, give it a thumbs up. And I would love to have you subscribe. And if you subscribe, you might want to hit that bell notification thingy, because if you don't click the bell notification, then you won't know when I make my next uploads. And half the people who subscribe, they complain that they never know when people are making their new videos. And that's where the bell comes in, because then you get these, it's like a push notification. And when I have the bell thing for the people that I subscribe to, right on the right hand side of my computer, it shows a little thing saying such and such posted a new video. And that's what you'll see. And I post 3 times a week for your viewing pleasure. So, love to have you join my family. Well, at least my YouTube family. My real family's kind of crazy. You don't want to join my crazy family. Okay. Until we meet again, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.